Welcome back. My name is Dr. Carl Baird, and today I'll be showing you some simple and easy squat modifications you can make to the movement to help you squat even if you're dealing with bad knees. So the squat movement itself is one of the best movements you can do to build strength, to limit impact that goes through your knee for less knee pain and arthritis as you get older. But with that being said, it might be hard to perform the squat if you're feeling pain when you perform the movement. So what I'll do in today's video is show you some simple and easy modifications you can make to your squat technique so that you can perform this movement to build strength so that you experience less knee pain and arthritis as you get older. Let's go ahead and first modification you can make has to do with your stance or your foot positioning. So a lot of people, when they were first taught the squat movement, however many years ago, were taught that you want your feet hip width apart and toes pointed forward. But the reality is, just based on anatomy, is for a lot of people, this puts actually more impact at your knees. So the two things that you'll want to look for with your stance is the width of your stance. And what I've found is that most people, not everybody, but a lot of people like to go a little bit wider than hip width. And two, the second thing you want to look for is how much toe out you have. And so a great place to start is just a little bit wider with the toes slightly pointed out, and then perform your squat. And like I said, everybody's stance is going to be a little bit different just based on anatomical factors, so you might have to play around with it a little bit, but those are the two things you want to watch out for, is the width of your feet and then how much toe out you have. Give those a try. The next modification you can make is to the actual movement pattern or how you coordinate the movement. So if you're dealing with bad knees, what I would suggest you try is that you initiate your squat by sending your hips back and then squatting down, versus the alternative, which bothers a lot of people with bad knees, where you unlock at your knees and then you drop down. So let me show you. There's unlocking at the hips down, where the hips are the first thing to move, and then there's unlocking at your knees. If you're somebody that's dealing with knee pain or bad knees, you'll want to try unlocking at your hips and then dropping the hips down. Once you've found a good squat stance and you've tried sending your hips back, the next thing you can focus on is pressing your knees out as you sink into the squat. So as I descend into my squat, I just focus on pressing my knees out. That's going to limit the impact that goes through the knee while I'm performing this movement. And another easy modification you can make to squat with bad knees. Another easy modification you can make is screwing your feet into the ground. Now, your feet aren't actually going to move because they're planted on the ground, but it's a good way to think about it. As you descend, that you're turning your feet out. And what this does, it creates a lot of tension in the muscles of the leg that all limit the impact that goes through your knees. So as you sink down in your squat, I'm turning my feet out. That's creating a lot of tension in the legs, and come back up. But again, it's that tension that's going to take pressure off the knee joint itself for less knee pain as you perform the squat. Another easy modification you can make has to do with your squat depth. So the reality is, as you sink deeper into your squat, you create a steeper angle at the knee. And a lot of people with bad knees might not like that steeper angle. So an easy modification you can make is just to limit your squat depth. So instead of sinking as deep as I can into the squat, I'm going to sink just right before the point where I feel any sort of pain and twinge and come back up. And ideally, as you build strength and confidence in the squat movement, you can return to your full depth squat. But until that point, just limit your depth, and that will help limit the impact at the knee. So if you've made all those modifications and your knees still aren't liking the squat movement, the next best thing is to regress the movement and build strength with these regressions until you have adequate strength to perform the squat without putting too much impact on the knee joint itself. So let me show you a few of my favorite regressions. The first is called a sit to stand. This is going to be the easiest. So you just get a box or a chair. You're going to start in the seated position. And from there, all you're going to do is press through your feet to stand up and then sit back down. Just making sure that you're not rocking back and using your momentum to get you up. The next progression, once you feel comfortable with the sit to stand, is a box squat. So that's going to be where you start in the standing position, but then you're going to sit down and perform that sit to stand. And again, once that's comfortable, you can actually perform the box squat where you send your hips back, tap the box, and stand back up. So you just don't sit all the way back down. Once you feel comfortable with the box squat, then you can perform a squat with some assistance. So I like these TRX bands. All you do is you hold on to the band while you perform your squat. And again, the benefit of having this assistance is you can use your arms to pull you up as much as you need until you get comfortable with the movement and build the strength in your legs to perform the squat without any assistance at all. So as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, the squat is one of the most beneficial movements for anybody dealing with bad knees, and that if you're feeling knee pain when you squat, using these modifications can help you build strength and confidence in the movement until you're able to perform the full squat. So that's all I got for you today. If you do have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'm happy to answer. Thank you so much for watching.